Alrighty, it's your boy Zxous, and we're back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video. And today we're going to be adding Biscuit to the Burst 2 tier list. We're going to talk about where she's placed, and why she's placed there based off of a little testing we have done so far. So let's pull up her skills here and talk about where she shines, her pros and cons, and stuff like that. So Biscuit is a supporter that's I do feel like Biscuit is a good supporter, just not like a must-have supporter. She's definitely a great pickup. In terms of re-rolling for her, definitely not. This is definitely a character you do not want to re-roll for. You don't want to start an account with Biscuit because she is a supporter that doesn't even have, I want to say, full-on support towards herself, right? She's a supporter that does support all allies, but it's depending on what class they are. It depends on the support they get, I want to say. So depending on the class they are, they get a different type of support. Let me reword it like that, right? So for example, her first skill at the end of a full burst will affect all attacker allies. All attacker allies will get crit rate of normal attack increased by a certain percent for 10 seconds, and then also constantly recover a certain percent of Biscuit's max HP for a total of what's it called? Not for total, for every 1 second for 10 seconds, right? So only attackers get that. If I have defenders and supporters on the team, they won't get that, no matter how much I want them to. So keep that in mind. For her second skill, this is only for defender allies, right? When defender allies fall below 50% HP, they will get the invincibility effect for 5 seconds that can be activated twice per battle, and then recover a certain percent of Biscuit's max HP that can also be activated twice per battle. So again, that specific skill, her skill 2, is for only defenders. So no matter how much I want an attacker or supporter to get that ability, they will not get it. And then her burst skill, it does affect 2 allies regardless of what class they are, for rebuilding cover with a certain percentage of HP or certain percent HP. Which is good, right? She's the only one who can rebuild cover when it's damaged, right? But the second part of her burst skill only affects the supporter allies, and they get an attack increased by a big percent, being 43 at max for 10 seconds, and then restores 55.44% of attack damage of HP for 10 seconds. So in terms of her supports, she's a great character, right? She's a rocket launcher too, so you're gonna have some pretty good burst energy there. But in terms of starting the game with this character, you do not want to start the game with this character. If I'm starting Nikke and this is the only character I have, that's not going to be all that great, especially if she's the only SSR, because I mean, technically, again, SRs and stuff will still get the buff, but it doesn't make sense for you to start your account with somebody who benefits more with all the other SR characters, I feel like, right? So where does Biscuit shine, really? She would shine against bosses and in PvP. I think her best place is PvP, especially because of how the PvP like meta works, I want to say. Defenders kind of run PvP. You have characters like Noah, you have characters like Jackal, you have characters like, even Ludmilla does pretty good, Makima does pretty good. Like, the defenders kind of run PvP, right? Senti, right? These defenders run PvP. Now, why is that good? Because if I have a defender in the first slot, for example, Noah's like the prime example, because when I get Noah, this will be my PvP team. But Noah already taunts enemy or the targets that get hit by her rocket launcher for 2 seconds and lowers their attack for 2 seconds. Pretty good. Not to mention, her burst skill is a 40-second burst skill, but if I have her in first slot, she will taunt all enemies, and then every ally will get invincibility for 3 seconds and increase their defense by 133% for 10 seconds. The reason why this is so good with Biscuit is because not only is Noah already going to be so defensive, not only is she gonna already be so defensive and have invincibility for the first 3 seconds, but when she gets below 50%, already taunting for 10 seconds, by the way, she's also going to get another invincibility for 5 seconds. So literally, Noah and Biscuit in PvP is like meta. It's literally, at this point of time, it's just meta. It's like a must-have comp, I want to say. Because you're just going to have someone who's taking all the damage and stuff like that. You can also have a healer to bring her back up. Biscuit does heal her back up too, but you could have another healer to bring her back up, and that will even like just be more tanky, right? But the problem with Biscuit is that she does have a 40-second cooldown. So like, her cons is that she has a 40-second cooldown, so you're forced to run 2 burst 2 units. which is not all that much of a problem, but you know, there's characters like Senti who is better in general, and that's a 20-second cooldown, right? But again, it's not all that bad since you don't really need to have 3 burst 3 cooldown units on your team, so it's not all that bad, right? Another problem with Biscuit is I feel like you kind of have to build, if you're going to use her, you have to build a team around her to get these types of supports, right? I don't want to just slap Biscuit on my team, right, for their, like, I don't want to put Biscuit on my team for her second skill, for example, and have no defenders, you know what I mean? Right, just because she's a good character doesn't mean, she's obviously going to have value to, of course, anybody else who's not a defender, right? But if my purpose of her being on the team is for her to like help the defenders out, I want to put defenders on the team, right? And then I got to pick what defenders I want to have on the team and which defenders are the best ones to have, and then work around those characters and those characters. Now, a character that Biscuit has no chance working with, unfortunately, is going to be Xmas Rupee, because Xmas Rupee has the ability where she goes back into the burst 1 skill, right? So the reason why you cannot run this comp at all is because you're essentially forced to run 2 burst 1 characters and then 2 burst 2 characters. So you're going to run a 2-2-1 comp. You're only going to get 1 rotation, and you're going to miss your second rotation for getting another burst 3 character, because there's only 1 burst 3 character, and all burst 3 characters have 40-second cooldowns, right? So Xmas Rupee is definitely somebody you do not want to run Biscuit with. But in general, I do think Biscuit is a fantastic character. Again, very good support, probably top 5, if not right there at number 6, I would say. Would you want to reroll for her? No. Is she a character you want to start your account with? No. But is she a character you want to start, I don't want to say start your account with, but is she a character you want to have on your account with other characters early on? Yeah, because she's going to be able to get you through a lot of things, right? Again, bosses, she kind of like destroys them. Not her, but like her supports to other characters kind of just cheese boss stages, I want to say, especially the train. That's what like she's kind of like famous for, her and Makima with the train. But also you got to remember, she does have the ability to rebuild cover. So even, for example, Modernia, right, where Modernia kind of breaks all the cover guaranteed, she could rebuild it for 2 allies, which could be good for the bombs and stuff like that, especially if like she builds it back for the characters who can taunt or whatever. That would be pretty good. There's that, and she works great with Litter as well, right? Because again, her and Litter are the only characters who can really do something about covers. So I don't know if I explained it, but how hers work, it's not the same as Litter, right? So let's say I have 50% of my cover left. I will not heal a certain percent of HP for that cover. I will not. The cover has to be broken for me to rebuild the cover, right? While Litter's, it doesn't have to be broken. It has to be there with some type of HP for her to fix it, right? So literally, Litter is fixing your cover and making it stronger, and then Biscuit is rebuilding a broken cover, essentially, right? It's kind of fixing as well, but it's like it's completely different. It's not the same, right? So when a cover is broken, Litter will not heal up a cover, right, or bring back a cover. And then when a cover is, what's it called? A cover is active, Biscuit will not rebuild or re-heal whatever the cover, right? So I do think Biscuit is an S tier unit, I would say, just because, again, I think she's going to be, her and Noah especially, that's what I'm mainly thinking. You can get and run her with someone like Makima, but I do think PvP, that's where she mainly shines. Against bosses, that's where she mainly shines. Against progression in terms of the story, it really depends on where your team is, but again, her and Noah, I feel like, especially since Noah has the ability to basically increase our allies' defense by 100+% and give them invincibility, that is going to be somewhat useful for your campaign. It's going to be hard. Again, since the healers are like burst 1 and 2 units, it's going to be hard to build a team, a general team of what you want, because you have to essentially build a team around her, right? You have to build the team around Biscuit, I want to say, right? Even though she's supporting everybody else, you kind of have to pick and choose, right? Like I was trying to figure out a comp where I could have a healer who is a burst 1 character, Litter, and then her, and then somebody else, right? Her having a 40-second cooldown is kind of what hurts her in terms of what you could have on your team, opposed to what another team could have in terms of their characters with a 20-second. Like I can have a healer with Biscuit later and Senti, because Senti's a 20-second, right? While here I can't have Rapunzel. I can't have Rapunzel or Pepper, not Pepper. I can't have Rapunzel later, Biscuit, and then Noah, and then one burst 3 unit, right? I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna have full rotations on the full burst there. So I do think she's a great character. Should you start off with her? Probably not. Is she a good character to have early on when you have a full team ready? And if you have the characters ready, like if you have Biscuit with like characters in C tier, I want to say they're still gonna get the value, but I feel like characters like Noah, characters like Polly, characters like Senti, even characters like Folkwang, right? Even Folkwang, Rupee, these are characters who, not Rupee, because she's not a defender. I feel like, again, Biscuit kind of really shines more with defenders out of all her skills, but they're all great, right? She can heal, rebuild cover, give an attack buff, basically keep everybody alive. She can essentially do everything. She's the MVP. And again, because she's a rocket launcher, she does have burst energy. It's going to be very, very good for her. So I would say she's an all-around great support. Again, she could be right there at number 5 for me, if not right there at number 6. And I already made my top 5 defender tier list or supporter tier list, so make sure you guys watch it if you need to. But I will say Biscuit is an S tier unit. Let me know if you guys agree with me. Let me know if there's anything that I missed. But again, she does shine in PvP the most, and then bosses, that's what I would say. PvP, bosses, and then progression, that's what I would say she shines in order. But let me know what you guys think, if you agree or not, and why. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.